How's it going, boys? Welcome back to another JO3 video. My name is JO3. Today we're getting into the 100 Thieves drama. Now to quickly explain, Nadeshot and Froste are the two main people in this drama. Froste made some tweets calling out that he wasn't paid enough with 100 Thieves, that he and the rest of the mob, which is a group of creators, were not paid well, and that they were not making enough money to sustain themselves while with 100 Thieves. And basically, Nadeshot responded, and it pretty much just got through everything. But we're gonna get through it ourselves today. We're gonna make a simplified version for you. Now, first things first, the main point that Froste made was he could not afford to eat. He and the mob would have to skip out on meals just to be able to make rent. Now, this is his room. I had to pull this from an Optimus video about this situation because I could not find it for whatever reason. So shout out to Optimus. If you want to watch his video after mine, then be sure to check it out in the description.
This is a picture that Froste posted of his setup during his time with 100 Thieves.
So one, that looks awful. If you let your room get like that, then bro, what are you doing? And two, clearly he could afford to eat quite a bit. So either he is not good at, budgeting, or he eats way too much. And I assume it's probably the first one, considering all the food that's in his room. Next up, though, is a clip from Froste himself, which I'm just going to let roll before we talk about it.
Not just move into any house we want. We literally, we had to be within 10 to 15 minutes of Nadeshot's house. Now keep in mind, Nadeshot's house is in the center of Los Angeles, right? One of the most expensive cities in the world, in one of the most expensive neighborhoods in the most expensive city in the world. The man's house is valued at over $10 million, bro. How are we supposed to find a house that's within 10 to 15 minutes of that, that's less than 10 grand? Okay, you guys saw the house we were living in. You all saw the house we were living in. It wasn't a fucking mansion, bro. It was a 3-bedroom house, right? Like Avalanche, his room, you could barely fit a fucking bed in it.
So, of course, if that's true, if he could barely afford to put a bed in a room, it doesn't sound like they're living under the best living conditions. Which, I mean, I think is the only fair criticism, if that is truly the case. I would get that with 4 people. Sounds like it could be kind of crowded, kind of bad. However, being that close to Nadeshot and stuff, I don't feel like that's an issue. Because what he doesn't say, and what isn't pointed out, each member of the mob, there's 4 of them, was making $60K a year salaried. Which is $240K total that they had to survive on. You can make rent if it's $10K or less, which we'll get more into that number later. You could survive off 4 people making $60K. Maybe not the most comfortable life. I understand that. But we'll also learn later that they just weren't really, at least Froste here, wasn't really posting for months on end. He would go months between posting or streaming. And here's the thought, when you're a content creator, if you don't make content, you're not going to get paid. If you don't sell merch, you don't do sponsors or get ad rev subs, anything like that. You don't get any of those if you don't upload or stream. So, of course, you're not going to make more money than just what you're salaried. So, that is completely your fault. You're not working. You're just taking the money, the free money they're giving you until your contract runs out and then leaving. But here's a clip of him on Zillow looking at places less than 10K in the area for 4 people. 10K a month. I need to specify that.
Zillow listings. All of LA. 4 bedrooms. Like, the options in question, bro. 2,000 square feet, like 8K. This is an apartment. These are apartments for 6 grand almost.
Now, a 10K a month home in LA, of all places, one of the most expensive places to live, isn't going to be the best ever. And of course, there are apartments on that list as well. But he found places. Now, with 4 people making $60K, you could easily, I mean, obviously after taxes, but even after taxes, you could easily afford that. You might not be affording much more than that, but you also have to remember, this man, at least, I don't know if all of the mob, in a clip we're about to show, Nadeshot says they just weren't making content, so I assume all of them, but at least Froste wasn't really streaming, wasn't uploading, wasn't making content when his job is being a content creator for 100 Thieves. So of course, he can be making probably 6 figures if he just made content. I know he was a smaller creator at the time, like, they said he had a couple hundred viewers, but even a couple hundred viewers with 60K guaranteed, you could still probably, if you upload on YouTube, you're monetized on YouTube, make at least 80K total. But regardless, here's a clip from Nadeshot, and then we will discuss.
And I don't want to bring the other individuals that are a part of the mob into this, but the proof is in the pudding. Guys, I had thought that we were giving them a big opportunity. Okay, from individuals that were averaging just a couple hundred viewers, if not lower some days, having them be a part of a tier 1 organization like 100 Thieves. I thought, on top of the fact that we brought them out to LA and we moved 4 best friends into a home together, I thought that this could only be productive. This could only be, the perfect situation and scenario for all of these guys. They didn't work. They didn't make videos. They didn't stream. They got here, and we'll never know why it is that it panned out the way that it did. But if you really want to go look at stats, and you really want to look at the work that was done while we're bringing these deals in, while we're paying these salaries, and while we're supporting them as much as we can with the employees that we have, the resources that we've created for ourselves, and the platform that we have built along with our community, that mentality that we had back in the day where you eat what you kill, they weren't uploading.
So if we're to take Nadeshot's word, then they just weren't making content. So of course, as a content creator, you're gonna struggle if you're not making any content, especially if you're gonna live in LA. Now, of course, even if they weren't living in LA, of course 100 Thieves are not gonna re-sign you if you're not making content, and of course you're gonna end up leaving. I don't understand that. Content creation does require a lot of sacrifice to be made and a lot of work to be put in. You can't just bank on getting lucky. Some people do, but a lot of the time, it's after putting in a lot of work on YouTube and finally getting that, breaking through that sort of glass ceiling and getting that one video that does really well, that moves into a new atmosphere basically on YouTube or Twitch or any social media platform. I don't understand where Froste could be coming from with what Nadeshot has been saying. And a lot of 100 Thieves members and creators have also come out against Froste and saying that basically what he said is just false or stupid because he wasn't working. Of course, if you're signed to one of the biggest, if not sometimes called the biggest org right now, then of course, if you're not making content while signing with them, they're not going to re-sign you. And they were paying him a salary of 60K. 60K, especially for people living together, but even on your own, that's still upper middle class right now. You're still going to struggle, but that's just without even having to work. I don't know. It seems like he's complaining over nothing and just doesn't want to put in the work to keep the great position he was in. I would love to have a position of 60K salary, and on top of that, making a lot of the money from your content as well. You could probably be making 6 figures if you put in the work as a 100 Thieves creator, especially in the position he was in. Well, regardless, let me know what you think. Be sure to subscribe and share the video and all that fun jazz. And, stick around for pretty much daily uploads is what I'm trying to shoot for.